Good evening. Like and subscribe, please. That will help me to get my videos out. I don't know if they're blocking me or not. Some people say they are. I don't know, but I'm gonna do the best I can to get my videos out. So like and subscribe so that I can get the truth out because truth is hope. Truth is hope. Um, a situation in where you have a narrative that gives you choices that you do not want is not freedom of choice. Freedom of choice has to be there has to be truth and falsehood. You have to be able to decide between what's true and what's false to have freedom of choice. If freedom of choice does not give you freedom, then of course it's not freedom of choice. Okay, so let's get to it. T.D. Jakes, to my knowledge, is it's what they call it's not, the word isn't a prophet pastor, but it has something to do with pastors that they teach you to manifest money or whatever. But anyway, the point I want to bring up is that we all are aware that Kevin Samuels got sick mysteriously, and all of a sudden he dissolved. And it's the same thing with Michael Jackson and Prince. And now we're talking about Jamie Foxx, mysterious, mysterious sicknesses that causes them to dissolve. Now, I use the word dissolve instead of death because that is what happens to people. Because what we're talking about is not death. We're talking about the physical body dissolving. The atoms of the physical body goes back into nature because your soul no longer holds the atoms together which make up your body, so they go back into the dirt and the plants and the animals, whatever. So it's called dissolving because your soul goes on. Just wanted to throw that in there. But as we all know, Kevin Samuels dissolved. And what was he teaching? He was bringing Black families back together. He was educating us on the mistakes that we were making as husband and wives. And the mistakes we were making was caused by social conditioning. And that caused the division. And the social conditioning that caused the division was feminism. Telling women and having them believe that they did not need a man. Similar to what's going on with this transvestite thing, telling women that they can be a man or you can be anything that you imagine yourself to be, which is what Michigan is trying to pass a law to say that if you don't call a person by their chosen pronoun, it would be a felony, which just shows the sickness of the United States. But the point I want to bring up is that is T.D. Jakes' attempt to bring the Black family back together, will that make him a target of the powers to be? And the powers to be is, of course, the plutocracy. Some people call them the Illuminati. I don't like that phrase because that means to be, to me, that means to be enlightened, to be illuminated. That's a spiritual concept. The Illuminati, illuminated, well, they can call themselves what they want, but a thing is what a thing is. So my question is, has TD Jakes put himself in trouble? And the reason why I have this picture up here of the KKK is to ask you a question. These people are supposed to be Christians. So let me ask you, are they Christians or are they not? But understand this, their ancestors created Christianity. And if they say that this is Christianity, then this is Christianity, because they are the creators of this Christianity. Now, we all know that they usurped the teachings of Yahshua and created Christianity. And they changed his name from Yahshua to Jesus, and they whitewashed his picture. So therefore, when you pray to this Jesus, you're praying to their conception, their manifestation, their idea of what Christianity is and supposed to be, because they created Christianity from the not from the teachings of Yahshua, because they don't even teach the teachings of Yahshua. What they do and have done is use the teachings of Yahshua to gain the trust of indigenous people so that they could exploit them. And the easiest way to exploit a person is to gain their trust and have them think that you are their friends. An enemy is less of a problem or obstacle to you because you know where he's coming from. A friend a wolf in sheep's clothing, if you don't pay attention, can take advantage of you. But the reality of the situation is that Caucasians, under the guise of Christianity, can't even put on sheep's clothing because we know what they are. We know what they're doing. So how do you call yourself a Christian when these are the original Christians on this picture? And when they say Jesus saves, they're not talking about Yahshua. They're talking about this white, idealized version of Yahshua. And they call him Jesus, but actually it's pronounced Jesus, to show you how ridiculous the situation is. Now, I will say this. If you are a Jew and you understand what the Jewish religion is, it is Kemetic philosophy, and it teaches spirituality, then you will not be a victim to Christians. You will understand to understand what it is to be a Jew, it is to be a spiritual being. It is to be a spiritual being that can absorb the solar radiance from the sun. That is a part of our spirituality. we gain power from the sun. We can absorb it. And the sun is the giver of life. There is nothing to be gained from being a Christian, which is what? It is the religion of your colonizer. It is the religion of your enslaver. The Vatican, from which Christianity and Catholicism comes from, said that slavery was okay, that slavery was lawful. It said that slavery was lawful. But if you read the Bible, nowhere in the Bible does it say slavery is lawful, because Christianity is not taught out the Bible. If it were taught out the Bible, there would be no pictures of Jesus with long hair, blue eyes, and a pale complexion. He would be black with hair like lamb's wool, white or gray, indicating that he was an older man. But to go back, but to explain, let me explain what Jesus is. What it meant that the feet, the color of burnt bronze, meant that Jesus walked, and they didn't say legs, they didn't say arms, they said feet, which means that they used the feet, which means that he walked on earth. He walked above earth, which means he was spiritual. He walked above earth. And spirituality, the color of spirituality is white. So that means that he has a halo, or aura, a spiritual aura. And then they say that his eyes were red. That is the frustration of trying to educate people. That is the frustration that he was going through in trying to educate people. So he was withholding his anger. That's why his eyes were red. So now I want you to look at this picture. Now, are you going to tell me that these people are worshiping a false god? Now, they created this Christianity. So how can you tell me, how can you say that they're worshiping a false god if they created it? They said, if they call Yahshua Jesus, well, what is that? That is a false god. Jesus is not the God of Hebrew Israelites. Now, if you want to be a black Christian and have this colonizer as your God, then that is your business. But it is insane thinking. You may as well walk into Satan's home and sit down and have a meal and you're not going to get comfortable unless you're cooking and sweeping up the kitchen and allowing yourself to be misused and conditioned. You see, when you, going back to T.D. Jakes, as long as he calls himself a Christian, they can do what they want to do with him. But once you learn and you understand Kemetic philosophy, which is our religion, then your spirit, they won't be able to do anything with you because your spirit will protect you. You will be above them. You will be above them. To be God's chosen people is to be above them. To be beneath them is you may as well be a slave. You may as well be a slave because this is their religion. So what are you going to do? Change their religion? They started this. If they say this is the religion of the Klan, then this is the religion of the Klan. They created this. This is theirs. You're going to take it from them? That's like taking poison from. That's like taking poison from a dying man and then you drinking it. Hey, but my question is, if TD Jakes is trying to repair the damage done by Caucasians, will they try and take him out? Will they try and take him out? Will he get some kind of mysterious illness? That's the question. But he is but he's a Christian. He's a black Christian. I forget. I wish I could think the name would come. I should have wrote it down before I started doing this. Prosperity pastors. They call them prosperity pastors, the ones that come on TV, and they're not about help. It's really a selfish thing because it's not about helping others, which is what Yahshua was about, helping others. And that is called, see, our religion teaches us to be the summum bonum, which means to do the greatest good. We are supposed to do the greatest good to become immortal. And to be immortal means to live on and on and on and on and on, to reincarnate till you reach a point of spiritual intellectualism where you become godlike. Now, don't confuse, there is but one God. I said godlike, there is but one God. And that God is the Alpha and Omega. To be, and what Alpha means is to create yourself in a way, to be always there, to be the opposite of nothing existing. God is the impossibility of nothing existing, that being Alpha, always created. Omega, non-ending. Immortality is not Alpha and the Omega. Immortality has a beginning. Alpha, as far as spirituality, means non-beginning. And then when you and you notice that all the planets, everything is round. So you have to think of God as a sphere, a circle. And a circle connects all the way around. So it has no beginning and no ending. And then think of yourself as living inside the mind of God, living and moving inside the mind of God. If you want to come up with give God a characteristic, but you can't give God a human characteristic because God is infinite living mind. Infinite living mind, the Alpha and the Omega. I've gone further than I wanted to go here, but the main thing I want you to do is to see this picture and understand that these are the ancestors of these people created Christianity. So, I mean, what are you going to do? Change it into something that you want it to be? It's still Christianity. And you can't create a Christianity that's opposite of what these people call Christianity. You can't call hot water cold water. You can't do that. That's two different things, two different mindsets. So you can't be a Christian and go against the teachings, the misinterpreted teachings of these people who call themselves Christians. This picture, those are Christians. They are Christians. Now, with the hats and everything. Now, if you want to call yourself a Christian, then you belong to this group of people. They created it. They are the creators of this. If you are born a Jew by blood, then Yahshua. And under the Kemetic mystery system, God is infinite living mind. That is our religion. And our religion makes sense. And a lot of them, people, a lot of Caucasians, they see the ridiculousness of being a Christian. And they become what? They become atheists. They become atheists. But if you are a student of Kemetic philosophy, which is the religion of the Jews, you have truth to build on, a reason to believe in the all and infinite living mind, because the summum bonum, the greatest good, is what perpetuates life. It is the consciousness of nature. Spirituality is the consciousness of nature. It is instinctive in nature to do what it takes to survive. Human beings, we have a choice between order and chaos. We have a choice between order and chaos. And what you see on this picture is chaos. Because what do they preach? Racism. They will teach, now the leaders are teaching feminism as well as racism, feminism, and homosexuality. All are chaos. All are chaos. Evil is chaotic. You can't build on it because there's no truth there. You can't go from the unknown, from the known to the unknown, because there's no reality there. And you can go so far. But if you become spiritual, study it. Study it, because that is your salvation. You don't need a leader. The Spirit of God is within you. Use it. Use it. I am a spiritual teacher, messenger, but I am not your leader. You are your leader. God gave you common sense, the ability to reason and to be your own leader. I know a friend, I was talking to him, and he mentioned something about following a leader. Well, a leader is a person who puts himself out there in Front Street for others, and then he gets shot, and then people run around scattered all over the place. No. You have to be your own leader. To be a spiritual person, you have to think for yourself. And it's up to you to search for truth. It's out there, it's on the internet, and it's reasonable. But if you want to call yourself a Black Christian, go right ahead. My job is to lead you to the spiritual waters. Whether you drink or not is none of my business. I only want you to know where the spiritual waters is. Spiritual water being truth. You don't have to drink if you don't want to. God has given you free will. So if you allow desires to take the place of using your intellect, that is your free will. But if you don't use your intelligence, don't blame anybody else. Blame yourself. But in the meanwhile, let's keep an eye on TD Jakes and see, because I believe you have the white people call themselves the Illuminati, and then I hear that the black people are the gatekeepers, and they call them the Boule, like Oprah Winfrey, Obama, Jay-Z and them, P. Diddy, all those, Stephen A. Smith, all those people that take money to keep Hebrew Israelites divided so that we can be conquered are called the Boule. But anyway, that's going into another story. Didn't mean to take this long. Like and subscribe. Catch you later on.